Hey everybody, I've got a little bit of a different video to show you today. I want to tell you about something that I had pop up in my collection a number of years ago and kind of tell you the story of that and what it actually is. So I have of this female pinstripe that I bred to pastel clown a couple of years in a row and hatched these really bizarre looking snakes. And I did it 2 years in a row and I got some of these strange looking snakes both years. Well, I thought maybe it was a recessive thing and I just happened to hit snakes with the right genes and got them to breed and, hatch this recessive morph out. But the third year with that same pinstripe female, I actually bred a pastel banana to it and hatched out more of these bizarre looking snakes. So I've been kind of keeping it under wraps for the most part over the past few years. I decided to name the morph Aztec, but since then I've found that it's actually a cryptic, which a few people have those already, but they're pretty rare. So if I call them Aztecs at some point throughout this video, I mean cryptic. So I'll try to keep it straight, but I've been calling them Aztecs for like 4 years now, and just decided that they were indeed cryptics. I've talked to a few people about it, and they are cryptics. So that's what they actually are. But I had been calling them Aztecs, so hopefully I don't screw up. I only do one take on my videos. I don't have time to edit or do reshoots or anything like that. So this is pretty much it. So anyway, let's take a look at these things. This is a base morph cryptic, squirmy little guy. So I hatched a few of these out in that first clutch. And so I bred a pastel clown to this pinstripe. And the pinstripe was the daughter of my original pinstripe that I got in, I don't know, it was like 2008 or 2009. Back when pinstripes were still relatively rare. Well, this thing is not going to sit still for us. So I think that the pinstripe is actually the one that's producing this. And I don't know if it was because I bred that original male pinstripe to a strange normal female that I had here, because when I originally started out, I had a bunch of farm-raised females, and there may have been one that was actually a cryptic, and I just didn't know it. Might have been kind of a lower expression one, but you could see, first of all, they have a lot of white around the black pattern on their sides, a lot of white blushing marks too, and then the most obvious thing is the head pattern. Look at the space between the eye and the dark patch on the top of the head. And also this is kind of broken up in here too. The snake is not real happy with me. I'm going to show you a lot of examples of these. I haven't really told people that I've had this since I first developed it, which has probably been 5 or 6 years now. Mostly because I didn't really know what I had on my hands here. I looked up some things, to find other similar morphs, and I found a few other things that look similar. One is puzzle. The pastel cryptic looks quite a bit like a pastel puzzle, but I knew that based on my experiments with breeding that this is a dominant trait. I haven't proven it to be co-dominant yet, so I'm not really sure if it is, but it's this gene is dominant for me. So I bred cryptic to cryptic. I bred cryptics to other morphs and gotten some combos that obviously show cryptic. So it's got to be either a dominant or a co-dominant. So I'm going to put this one back and I'm going to show you what it does. So the main reason why I didn't want to really show people what I had is because I wanted to put it into other genes and see what it can do before I basically put it onto the market. And it's some morphs it's kind of hard to see in there, but some it's just, well, I'll show you. Okay, here is a pastel cryptic. Look at what it does to the color and the pattern. They're always a really super busy pattern. Normally there's a lot more blushing within the dark pattern on the top, but just look at how that pattern is just nuts. And then they've got the real white blushing on the sides. I have a few of these. Just look at the head pattern. Like everything is just really busy with this morph. So that's just pastel added to Cryptic. Okay, I'm going to show you some other things too. Okay, this one is really bizarre. This is a bamboo cryptic. I think it's a pastel bamboo cryptic, but I'm not sure. But look at that head pattern. Now it didn't bring up the space between the eyes and the top of the head. It didn't give that space in there, but I mean, just look at that. Almost looks like it has horns. And the contrast of this is a lot higher than any normal bamboo as well. The pattern is just a lot higher contrasted to the background. This is actually one of my favorite things. I did some other trials with Cryptic trying to get it into other morphs, and there's still a lot of works in progress with it. And in 2020, I'll have a lot of new stuff with Cryptic in it. But anyway, that's the bamboo or pastel bamboo. I think it's a pastel bamboo. It's kind of yellowing up quite a bit, so I'm pretty sure there's pastel in there. Okay. So some of the bigger ones that I've hatched out over the past few years. I've stockpiled a number of these. I don't even know how many I have, but I mean, it's not like 100 or anything like that. I maybe have 20. So, you know, it's still a pretty rare new project. But this is a Cryptic from 2016, I think, maybe 2017. And she's not going to sit still for us very well either. I mean, you can tell instantly that that's not a normal. And that's the only thing that this could be other than a Cryptic based on the breeding that it did to produce this. The only other thing it could be other than a Cryptic is a normal. And you can see just by the pattern, it's obviously not a normal. Look at that pattern on the head. It's like it's a clown wannabe. You know, like it's kind of a clown pattern, but just not quite as extreme, but it's kind of along the same lines. But obviously not a clown pattern in the body. So that's a normal subadult Cryptic. And I have an adult female breeder of these, and then I have an adult female pastel Cryptic breeder. I didn't bring any of the adults out to show, but they look basically like this, just bigger. So I'm gonna grab some other ones here. Okay. The next one I have is a Pinstripe Cryptic. I put all these in bags to make them easier to have all in one place. Otherwise, I'd be running around the whole shop gathering them up. Okay, this is a Pinstripe Cryptic. This one's going to be doing the opposite of what most of them do. All these other ones have been scattering around trying to escape, and this one's not doing anything. But you can see the whites on the sides. That's a pretty big indicator. And then the head pattern too, of course. And just a different overall color. I mean, you're not going to see pinstripes with this exact color to it, just a little bit different. So that's a typical Cryptic Pinstripe. Okay. And now I'm going to show you a bigger pastel Cryptic. Look at that. So that's just pastel and Cryptic together. I'll come back here. So this one's a little bit more typical with all the blushing in the dark pattern. Pastel Cryptics tend to be very highly blushed through here, and I'll show you some other ones here. I only have a couple left to show, but I'll show you those in just a minute. Get this girl to sit here for a few minutes. Okay, so I mentioned that the first two breedings with this Pinstripe female that must have had Cryptic in it was to a pastel clown. So a lot of my Cryptic stuff is either clown or het clown. But the third year, I just wanted to see if it was the Pinstripe that was doing that, the Pastel Clown was doing that, or both. And so the third breeding I did with that same Pinstripe female, which I still have in my collection actually. She's probably 10 years old now, I'd say. She was in my first generation of pinstripes that I ever produced back when I was doing pinstripe to normal breeding, because it was actually worthwhile to do it at that time. So the third time I bred that pinstripe was to a pastel banana. And this is one of the guys that I got out of that. So this is a pastel banana cryptic. Look at how the top pattern almost just melts away to the sides, and then look at that head pattern too. I love what pastel does to cryptic. You know, pastel is hit and miss in a lot of different projects. I think with cryptic it's really important to have in there. Just messes with the pattern so much. But look at that head pattern. So this is a breeder male of mine, and he's been doing some work for me for the past couple of years. Okay. So then I decided to put in some other genes into it, and I'm still working on putting a lot in. I mean, there's so much I want to do with this. I haven't even put yellow belly into it yet. Haven't put Enchi into it yet. But this guy right here, that is a pastel lesser cryptic. And I don't know about you guys, but I've never seen a normal pastel lesser that looks anything like that at all. Like that pattern is just crazy on that thing. So this is actually one of my favorites that I've produced so far. Just gives it so much more pattern. A lot of pastel lesser stuff kind of gets a little faded as they get bigger. Not this guy. His pattern is really sharp. And that blushing on the sides, the blushing on his back pattern, the head pattern. Okay, then here's another pretty cool baby that I hatched out. This is a Mystic Pinstripe Cryptic. And she is 66% possible het clown. Just ultra white sides. She's only a few weeks old actually, maybe a month and a half. But look at that head pattern. And just the overall color, she's just brighter than a typical Mystic Pinstripe. Okay, and here is another cool one. That is an Orange Dream Firefly Cryptic. I'm pretty sure it's got Orange Dream in it anyway. I guess I'm not 100% sure, but it's just so clean and so bright yellow that it's almost got to have Cryptic in it. I mean, it's almost got to have Orange Dream in it. And she's actually double het for Clown Pied. So that's just some of the stuff that you can do with the Cryptic gene. I think there's a lot of potential with it. You know, some combos I think it's going to be kind of subtle in there, but there's a lot of them that I really think that it's going to add a new dimension to the overall color and, most importantly, the pattern of a lot of ball python morphs. So I'm going to keep working on this and keep making more of them, but I have decided to unleash some of them onto the market. I'm going to actually have some of these at the NARBC in Tinley Park in a couple weeks from now. So you might want to stop by the table and check them out and see them for yourself in person. And I will have a few of them for sale as well. So I appreciate it if you would come and take a look. So that's all I have for today. Hope you enjoyed my video on the cryptics, and I will show you some updates on this project as time goes on. I don't really know if I'm going to be hatching out anything else this year, but I do have a number of them that I'm going to be offering for sale. But I'll definitely be doing some new projects with them next year, and hopefully I'll have a lot of cool stuff to show. So I'll be back with another video soon. I'm thinking next week's video I'll probably show my displays for Tinley as I'm getting them ready to go. I haven't decided for sure on that though, so if you don't see one of those videos, don't hold it against me. I'll try to get a video of some type out next week. And also make sure to visit my website, royalconstructordesigns.com, to see what I have available. I will see you again soon.